We've all had a lot of time with the game. One last thing I want to do is kind of let the players that are just getting started know some tips that we may have come up with. Doug and you are actually putting together a feature for this.
And a lot of the stuff, even after hours and hours of beta and playing the game, I didn't know these myself. So it's just stuff. The game does actually a very good job of telling you, like, hey, here's how you do this. This is what this is. You can see, like, if you go into your skills, you can see the base skill damage or healing, and then it'll show you what you have with your
everything.
Gear, which games like Diablo don't even do that.
Right, sure.
So that's a really deep cut, but anyway, these are some of them. The first one, and probably the most immediately effective one, is don't sell your junk weapons or gear. Deconstruct them instead.
Absolutely.
The money, so for two reasons, but the main reason is the money at low end, what you will get for selling your weapons, gets exponentially higher, as where if you craft it, it turns it into a crafting material that scales with you for the rest of the game. So basically, you're going to get more out of your end game progression if you just scrap everything. I've literally not touched a vendor my entire time, besides maybe like the Dark Zone vendor to see what he had, but besides that.
Even the guy that builds mods for you where you can actually craft things, don't go there until you're in endgame because your stuff is still worth it just as much.
I think it's similar to like other MMOs, and we make these parallels all the time, but like, hit max level, then spend. Like, don't go to the auction house as a level 1 gnome and look for a sword, basically. Bleed and fire effects prevent you from sprinting, so that those are caused by fragmentation and the fire grenades, incendiary grenades, and then the disorient grenade disallows you from getting in cover. That's a status effect that will come up, and you'll see it on your UI, but it just really isn't displayed anywhere. You kind of just have to learn from experience what those do. That comes in really handy in the Dark Zone, but we aren't quite there yet. The next thing is higher DPS doesn't always mean better, especially if there are two totally different weapon types. So like I have an assault rifle, and then I have a great sniper rifle. The assault rifle will almost always be higher DPS. You have to go in, compare. There's a compare button, and you can see the damage, the rate of fire, stuff like that, and just try the gear and see if it works out for you.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that real quick, DPS is very different from damage. So like Duggan was saying, you could have an assault rifle with an amazing DPS, but that sniper rifle with a high enough bullet damage, you're going to one-shot people with headshots. So definitely like consider that if it's green as a weapon, it might not always suit your playstyle.
Exactly.
Even when you're comparing two assault rifles, like honestly, like the DPS is an ideal number in which you're hitting
constantly
every single
firing
shot.
Every
Every single shot. Whereas like I've preferred an AK with a higher per bullet, with a higher per bullet damage, where I'm just gonna fire a 2-round or a 3-round burst.
Yeah.
And all those are gonna land, but like I'm not like sure if I had the M4, the police M4, and I just lay into the fire button and somehow I land all those shots, like maybe I'll have more sustained DPS, but I mean, like, that's not how I fire assault rifles, so it doesn't make sense.
Especially because a lot of the time you're behind cover. So that assumes you're out of cover firing all the time. But if you're not, because you don't want to be dead, like, you'll pop out 3 bullets, pop back, pop out 3 bullets, so that AK is going to do more DPS for you.
Yep.
I've been using the heavy weapon, so I just lay down cover on everybody and make them go suppressed, and I'm like, all right, you snipe, you flank, go ahead.
Yeah, that's really good. Especially if you're playing solo, you don't really run into the suppression mechanic.
Right.
But suppression is your best friend if you're playing with a friend, because, like Destin said, if you had an LMG, which I love that there is no like hard indicator of like LMGs can suppress enemies. Any weapon can suppress enemies, but LMGs have a huge mag and a high rate of fire. So basically, they are ideal because the only enabler for suppression is you're just shooting at the enemy behind cover, and they'll go down and you'll actually see a little indicator above their head, which will get slimmer and slimmer, and then they'll pop back up. But like Destin, for instance, could lay down suppressive fire, and I could go from behind with like a shotgun and bam, dead. And the enemy will do nothing.
A great way to piggyback off that is when you're suppressing them, have your buddy throw like a stun grenade or a flashbang or something. So then once the suppress is over, then they stand up, and then you all lay into it.
That only works with NPCs, unfortunately, no other players. And just quickly with that higher DPS thing, you also will want to, if you're directly comparing one, like an AK to another AK that you just got, and you're not sure which is better, if you have a ton of mods on the first AK, you need to strip those mods before you do the comparison, because that does factor into DPS and what you see displayed.
Every mod seems to add at least a little bit of damage.
Definitely.
So,
Even things like increasing the mag capacity, which I don't really understand.
Yeah, every mod, even if it's not listed as damage increasing,
Right.
it increases damage a little bit.
You can actually look as you're equipping them. It'll show how much of an impact it has on your DPS, but not necessarily.
I think the only ones that don't do it are like threat reduction and like status effect stuff.
Yeah.
But like
Right.
if it
Like
puts
stability.
suppression or
yeah,
something
if
like
it puts
that.
more megs in the chamber, that's another bullet, so that's higher DPS kind
Yeah,
of thing.
sure.
You know, that makes sense.
This one is a little bit of a deep cut, but you can equip a maximum of 4 talents at once. So don't go crazy and go to like your military wing and just be like, I'm just going to get all the talents, because those, unlike perks, you have to select. And even at the beginning, I'm level 15 right now, and I can only equip 1 talent.
Yeah.
Yep.
So keep that in mind when you are upgrading your base. Also, perks, on the other hand, are like infinitely stackable and applicable. Any perk you get, you have forever. They all passively stack on top of each other.
So
there's that.
I'd like to piggyback off the perk real quick if
Sure,
I can.
please.
When you first start the game and you get to your base of operations, you can choose between the first 3 missions, medical, tech, or security. I recommend you do security first.
XP.
That's the Lincoln Tunnel mission, because the perk you get off of getting your control room, which is what you unlock when you do the first security mission, is a flat 10% XP gain.
Yep.
So
Good point.
So that is going to stick with you for the rest of the game, and those other 2 missions are going to benefit from the extra 10%.
The earlier
XP.
in the game you get an XP boost, obviously you're getting a multiplicatively higher amount out of it.
I did
Yes.
that like the second I could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did too.
absolutely.
Sorry to hijack.
No, that's a
was
great
good.
note. That's a great note.
You got any more?
I do. Crafting material containers, and there's a video on this on IGN, and it's caused quite a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffles.
But I mean, it's like a scenario where we found it.
Yeah.
We telling people about it both serves our needs as well as the needs of the developer, because now they know that that's a thing. But basically, the way that relootable containers work is if I go to a toolbox right outside my base, there's one like right next to it or something. Basically, go to a toolbox right outside your base, open it, you'll have tools, and if you keep playing and come back to that maybe like 3 hours later or so, it'll be relootable. But you can circumvent that whole process by just joining another player's instance, be it a friend, be it joining a match-made game. And you can literally just sit there and spam matchmake
Stockpile.
and stockpile. It's cheesy, it's an exploit, but hopefully it'll get
It
fixed.
is super cheesy, but it's beneficial.
Thanks,
like,
Doug.
It helps.
Yeah.
And that's
Lay
not
it on.
ruined the
Lay
game.
it on. Lay it on.
that's not just your home base. You can do that at any safe house where you just matchmake in that area.
Yes.
So if you go to an area, there's a police station up in Clinton that I really, really like that's got like 5 weapons bags and 2 chests in it.
Jeez.
And so I'll
the,
go.
the pizza's good near there too.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll go to the Clinton safe house and matchmake. I actually haven't done it yet, but I imagine I could go to the Clinton safe house, matchmake, go run to my police station, and then just find a new one.
Yeah.
You know.
Some of us will do it legit, James.
Some of us. Some of us. Some of us.
No, I'm
have to-
totally going to do that probably.
Yeah.
Some of us will do
We'll
it legit,
Do it
and
at
some of
your-
us are going to win.
Do it at your own risk.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ban system is going to be like. I don't know if that's punishable. I doubt it will
I
be,
can't
but
imagine
proceed
that
at your
they're
own
gonna-
risk,
yeah.
please. And then finally, the Dark Zone doesn't reward conventional experience towards your character level.
Yeah.
So I think we're all kind of in agreement. Like, unless
go.
you're just going in there to
Endgame.
fool around, wait until level 30 to go into the Dark Zone.
Vince, thank you for joining us today. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. This is an experiment, however, so if you like the show, be sure you're checking it out on iTunes, sharing it with your friends. We're also available on IGN's Xbox One app, IGN's PlayStation 4 app, so you can really watch wherever you want to. Thanks for listening. This has been The Division HQ.